we go. Okay. Don't know what's going on there. Didn't look like I was streaming on YouTube or on Twitch. So, hello everybody. Hello to all of my followers and whoever there I am. Okay, excellent. Oh, turn that off. Anyway, I'm back. It's Tuesday. Just as we normally do. Back in olden days. It feels like. It's been a minute since I've been on, which kind of has been. I think the last time we chatted was Vicious Child back in a little over a week ago, and so don't know how much time I've got on for stream this week. It's been very busy. Had a good holiday. Hope you did too if you were in the U.S. Otherwise, hope you had a good Monday. Um, Hope again, it being a U.S. holiday, your Monday was a bit lighter because you didn't have to deal with the Americans at work. So yeah, we ended up having a hmm, interesting. Oh well, we'll deal with it. Uh, let me pop out the YouTube chat just in case some of you are following on YouTube and it is what it is. Pop out chat. There you go. It would be nice if YouTube had a better way of organizing its chat, but it is what it is. So, just gonna kind of get back into the swing of things. A little bit of light news, uh, light news in terms of there's a lot of breaches. Yeah. Normally I don't like talking about breaches, but there's a ton of stuff to discuss with regards to the breaches that are going on, and some context I think about um, how they are and what they're doing and what you should do if you are involved in the breach. And I think again, not to be US centric, because some of this is affecting globally. If you have a Gmail account, especially, or like me, you have 5 Gmail accounts, one of these breaches is going to affect you. I think, and actually, two of these breaches may affect you if you're have any data in credit bureau or something. So, let me get the first one. Oh, and I also have the Sockville quiz, which hadn't been out for a few weeks, but week 20, which was I think last week's week, 2 weeks ago, may go through that. I don't know. Just depends on how much time I've got. So I think there we go. First, what the hell? Okay. Yeah, the first thing that came up, I found out about this one. It says the oh, well, I'm getting two different things now. Okay. Transunion breach hits millions, but they say the Gmail security reports are false. I'm not exactly sure what's up with that. There's actually another article we have about um, Gmail reports a major security vulnerability. 2.5 billion users are false, although loosely based on a far more contained incident back in June. See, I'm not. I was under the opinion that Google had actually. Hold on, let me turn on some music. There we go. We should fiddle while the earth burns, that kind of thing. So these are our good friends, Chill Hot Music. Go check them out. They have a new fall time. Ooh. Yeah, so they have the fall 2025 stream comes up with some really excellent new music in the next day or two here. So 1 hour 17, 1 day 17 hours. So, yeah, here we go. So the credit bureau, TransUnion. So there's Equifax, TransUnion, and Placido Domingo or something. I forget. 3 credit bureaus. Bureaus. There we go. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian. That's it. Experian. Right. I should remember they spam enough people with their services online. These 3 are they're pretty much how people can buy and sell and trade and loan and everything around the world. Equifax had a very famous breach about 3 or 4 years ago. Supposedly everything known to man at Equifax was completely owned up and dropped. So they were completely, they spilled all their goodies all over to the internet. So TransUnion, it's time for TransUnion to drop whatever Equifax didn't. And I'm sure Experian's been involved in a breach at some point in the near past. But yeah, let's see, what's it say here? TransUnions expose sensitive information for millions of U.S. consumers, including date of birth, social security numbers. Confirm only 4.4 million U.S. customers, which isn't bad. That's less than a little over 1% of the people in the U.S. Doesn't mention if it's anybody who is not in the US. It just says 4.4 million people. You'll probably get not a phone call, but you'll probably get a text message or you'll get a letter in the mail. Excuse me. Lawyers are, of course, preparing their class action. I think it's important to remember that, I'm of the opinion when breaches occur that is that data really new? I mean, how many times can your social security number be breached? How many times can that be kicked out? So things like, name, social security number, date of birth. It's bad to have those things leaked. The problem is they've been leaked so many times, do they have any value? And I'm sure TransUnion's lawyers argue, probably successfully to the right judge, that there was nothing of value lost because all this data is already public anyway through numerous other breaches that have occurred, whether it be credit card or company or any of the other methods by which a breach has occurred. Because in the U.S., social security number is just something they want people to use. It's very similar to tax IDs in other places. So they do tell you that no credit information was accessed, but the above details create identity theft risk. It does create an identity theft risk, but there's already identity theft risk out there because of the number of breaches. So 4.4 million is also not a lot of people in the grand scheme of things. So you may have gotten away with not having your data breached. Or this is just the initial report that has come out, and later that decimal point will move over a couple where it'll be, it's not 404, or it's not 4.4 million, it's like 440 million people. And it's not just US folks. So we'll see where that decimal point moves, or if that number goes up to double that or triple that. They could still be doing incident response and figuring out the level of ugliness that is occurring before they give you a proper number. Okay, so I didn't get the update on the Gmail thing, but I had read last night that 2.5 billion Gmail users were hit with an emergency warning. Several reports. Where is it? Yeah, see, this is what I read here. Google issues emergency warning for all Gmail users. Breach at Salesforce exposed billions of users to cyber attack. And so, of course, I have at least a half a dozen Gmail accounts. I've had my primary Gmail account since 2003. And, my family have Gmail accounts of some kind. So, change passwords, right? It says Google sounded the alarm with emergency warning to all Gmail users. So this is the report. They called them Shiny Hunters. That's right. It's a notorious cyber criminal gang, taking their name from the Pokemon franchise. Sure. I don't see an update to this article. So anybody who's seeing this may actually, let's go check Geekspin. Gmail just sounded the alarm. Threat alert. Okay, Shiny Hunters. Okay, so according to Geekspin, from the actual website where the article was posted, there's no update. So they're still considering this to be legitimate. Let me go breach. Now, I find the irony in that I'm Googling for a breach caused by Gmail, which is owned by Google. It's kind of funny, but Google says Gmail security warning is false, but here's how, okay, so, see, so we're still getting like mixed signals here. It's either, you know, Google says no issues, it's strong and effective, whatever. But let me see, so where was it? I think the big thing for me, especially when something like Gmail gets hit, there's a lot of people that are now not just using Gmail for email. You use it as a form of login to many sites using your OAuth flows and stuff like that. And so had this been, and right now there's still some suggestion as that it's fake or that it's real. Forbes is now saying that Google's confirming Gmail breach is fake news. They wouldn't be the first company that has misinterpreted the information that they have shared, or some organization has misinterpreted that data. I think the bigger concern is I am sleepy as fuck. That's what it is. I think just to be safe, there are things that you should do. It's 2025 and you should have some kind of second factor auth on your Google accounts, because you're probably using your Gmail login and your OAuth flows for a lot more than what you think. Retail sites, you probably should change those passwords. You should enable some kind of two-factor, SMS if anything, if nothing, at least at a minimum. You can use authenticator apps if you want to do that. There's web keys. There's a good number of things depending on your level of technology and knowledge and acumen that you can use to more secure yourself, make yourself less likely to have that data being dumped all over the place. Because not only are we using it for OAuth flows and such, we're also using it as a storehouse for a lot of personal information, kind of like password lockers, right? If your Gmail account has receipts from where you've purchased things, for me, it would be a ton of things that I've kickstarted, for instance, or recent information about legal things that have occurred for me and my family that we're resolving. Not anything major. We just set up a trust for things that we own for the future, to not have to deal with things like inheritance tax and what have you. But those legal documents exist there, or my conversations with my lawyer exist in there, and there's definitely things that could be used to carry out secondary attacks. Calling up the lawyer, saying, hello, this is Mr. Bragg. Now, I don't know my lawyer that well, but I would hope he would do some kind of verification to, say who is this. But we could be doing something over the phone, or it could be doing something like, hey, I need to add somebody, or, there's a ton of things. You don't know what's in your inbox or in your, I've got a couple thousand emails in my inbox right now. Most of them are Amazon receipts, of course. But if you've had your Gmail account and you use it for any amount of time, and you use it for job description, job placement, or if you're looking for a job, or if you get statements from your financial organizations, there's a ton of stuff in there. Kind of like the password lockers. It's like you're not just using it to store passwords anymore. My 1Password has pictures of sensitive documents. It has seeds in case I get locked out of my account. I can recover my my account. There's just a ton of things, and so you don't even know what you don't know that you don't have in your Gmail account. So even though they say it's fake, I still don't see any reason why, you know, September 1st couldn't be the day that you change your passwords on your Gmail account and update them in a password locker or a booklet of which to store passwords in. So if you have a password book or something, go do that. Make sure you have, feel like you have some security, or, you know, you haven't changed your password in 7 years. Might be time to go ahead and do that change. Let me see. Stark warning. Oh yeah, that's the Geek Spin one. Let me see. That's Geek Spin. Transunion. I love the twofer here from a 9 to 5 Mac talking about, you know, both of these news stories. They say several inaccurate claims surfaced recently that incorrectly stated we issued a broad warning to all Gmail users about a Gmail security issue. It's entirely false. While it's always the case that phishers are looking for ways to infiltrate inboxes, our protections continue to block more than 99.9%. Okay, so 3 nines isn't bad. That's not bad. Of phishing and malware attempts from reaching users. I mean, I can tell you, I have gotten more than a few things in my inbox. I can't imagine the sheer number of emails and messages and things that Gmail processes every day. I can't. It has to be one of the largest, short of maybe Microsoft, email implementations in the world, especially free email implementations in the world. As Engadget notes, the claims appear to be very loosely based on a phishing attack targeting Salesforce back in June. Okay. Google said that the far more limited set of people affected by that have already been notified. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, TransUnion, your social security number got, you know, thrown out there. 4.5 million U.S. customers, including your date of birth and name. Okay. That's pretty much the same 3 data fields that get pushed out in every breach. Then, of course, for the third one that we talked about for breach season, there was a whistleblower who says that multiple millions of social security numbers were dumped on what amounts to be public storage somewhere in a cloud. I'm not exactly sure what kind of cloud, if it's Azure or Google or okay, so copy of the data appears to have been set up inside of Social Security Administration's existing cloud infrastructure, which operates on Amazon Web Services. However, according to the complaint, copy data had far fewer security measures in place to protect it than the SSA standard protocols typically require. So Doge, being fuckers that they are, went in with a hatchet and just started whacking at things and trying to prune as many bushes as they thought they could. And the fact that that data ended up on what amounts to probably an S3 bucket or something, without the standard protocols that it usually requires, means that it was probably set up that way. I wouldn't say on purpose. I'm just saying that it was set up there. And nobody, you know, no telling who has it or who has access to it. They reported it took sensitive DS, National Labor Relations Board. So there's a lot of Social Security numbers that have just been leaked recently. So the important thing is that you remain vigilant as a person, or if you're, you know, you have co-workers at your company who, you know, might want to make sure that they're doing what's necessary to protect themselves. There's credit monitoring out there. You know, with the number of breaches that have occurred, you probably should still be covered by some sort of breach security credit monitoring service. I don't know, maybe. It's just your data isn't owned by you, and it can be given out to anybody apparently. There's nothing stopping people from sharing that information. Once it's out of your control, you no longer can trust that it's going to be managed safely. So the only person you can really trust is yourself in this case. And so it would make sense for you to review anything that you have with regards to your credit monitoring, especially if Transunion. Keep an eye out on what's going on, because they can do things like take out loans using your social security number. Not hard to fake an ID, and there's a lot of stuff you can just do online without any kind of verification. So, let me see. I wanted to do the Sockville thing, but I think it's probably a little old. I actually don't know this one. Which of these is the latest in a line of companies having their sales force compromised? Well, this one's easy. Workday got owned, right? Yeah, got owned. So here's another breach. Because Workday uses Salesforce, and Salesforce and Workday are not the best things, but they're the largest things, right? It doesn't necessarily make them better. This campaign, threat actors contact employees. And really, hey, Dr. Fart, thank you for being first time. Really, I did not hear about the Zscaler breach. It's just, last Friday, so Dr. Fart, thank you. I was actually expecting there to be a critical vulnerability dropped, or whatever. Okay, so not Salesforce, but SalesLoft caused a problem here. Zscaler, Palo Alto's networks breached by a SalesLoft drift. Okay, it's a marketing SaaS application. Weird. 2 security firms suffered downstream compromises from a large-scale supply chain attack. Threat actor as UNC6395 breached marketing software as a service SalesLoft drift, stealing OAuth and refresh tokens from its Salesforce integration. Okay, so Salesforce is again at the heart of this. To access data belonging to certain SalesLoft customer environments. SalesLoft disclosed the incident on August 20th, with further details coming 6 days later. A threat actor used OAuth credentials to exfiltrate data from our customer Salesforce environments, right? So that allowed, very much like if the Gmail thing had been real, a lot of people use Gmail login and the OAuth tokens in Gmail to make trust connections so you don't have to log in. This is the same thing. By stealing the OAuth or refresh tokens from Salesforce integration, you may be able to use those tokens elsewhere. You may be able to use them to get inside of Salesforce that somebody owns. So Bob from marketing at your company might use SalesLoft for its thing, but then also send that data to Salesforce downstream. Yeah, it's not good. So Salesforce took action, revoked all the active access and refresh tokens in Drift, which is an excellent method, which I'm not sure. Well, my thought is all of a sudden you're going to have to log in again, right? Because they've logged everybody out because there's no active tokens, right? Additionally, notifying affected customers and hiring both Mandiant and Coalition to assist with incident response. Well, Mandiant will give them that sophisticated letter, hey, your shit was sophisticated. Not really. It's just they didn't do what was necessary, or it was a third party, or they're not segregating data correctly in such a way that there's SalesLoft is not doing security correctly in some case. It would not have been as huge a deal, I think, if SalesLoft, and I don't know how SalesLoft exactly works, but if you have any kind of multi-tenancy system like that where SalesLoft is, interacting with other marketing teams, that data needs to be sequestered in such a way so that if somebody's OAuth token is breached, you're not affecting other customers, or you're not having issues like that. So it looks like in some way, some method or whatever, one person from one customer of SalesLoft was able to get access to data that belonged to a lot of different customer environments. So they had to turn everybody's OAuth tokens and active refresh tokens off, reset them basically, so that they'll have it again. Good catch there, Dr. Fart. Thank you so much. We now advise all SalesLoft Drift to treat any and all authentication tokens stored in or connected to the Drift platform as potentially compromised. Yeah, sounds like a pain in the ass. Google also said a very small number of workspace accounts were impacted. Oh, that would make sense, because if your company uses Google Workspace for administration, MDM push, all of those OAuth tokens are also now compromised, because you may not get different tokens, or Salesforce has disabled all SalesLoft integrations to Salesforce until further notice. Yeah, so there's integration issues, right? So there maybe their OAuth flows or their OAuth token flows are not as secure as they could be, or they're not taking advantage of necessary security features that need to be implemented. At the time, August 26th, SalesLoft said it did not see evidence of ongoing malicious activity. Sure, okay. I have to wonder how they got notified. I would love for this to be like one of the Verizon DBIR reports about some marketing as a service system. Multiple customers have come forward with disclosures claiming they were impacted as part of a supply chain incident. Two of them included heavyweight Zscaler and Palo Alto. CISO Sam Curry published a blog post. Oh, let's go see what the blog post from the CISO said at SalesLoft. Oh, this is about Zscaler. Okay, I was made aware of a campaign targeted at SalesLoft. This incident, theft of OAuth tokens connected to SalesLoft Drift, third-party application for automating sales workflows that integrates with Salesforce databases to manage leads and contact info. Okay. So you're no social security numbers in this one, so that's good, right? Still business email addresses, which can be used to launch other phishing attacks, right? Which kind of sucks now because, Zscaler lets people know what has been taken. The bad guys can then use those to send emails saying, hey, you might have been affected by the SalesLoft breach. Click here, that kind of stuff. So there may be follow-on phishing attacks to those business email addresses. BEC is the thing, business email compromise, right? Because now they'll take those good email addresses that are owned by marketing people, and as we know, marketing people pick really solid passwords. So yeah, plain text content from certain support cases. Could also be blackmail, or if somebody from a competitor was able to get that information, you might find, hey, you've got competitors who are going after the same people, or you might find details about contract information, which probably not good. So Zscaler revoking SalesLoft Drift's access to Zscaler Salesforce data. That's good. So the marketing people are going to be kind of asked out for a while, I think, to Dr. Fart's what a headache. If marketing and sales folks are using that system, they don't have that system anymore to use. So everything's going to go back to how they were doing it before Salesforce or SalesLoft helped them with that. Out of abundance of caution, rotating other API access tokens, because you don't know about the scope of the tokens, how deep those tokens are, the tokens being reused elsewhere. Do you have to, what else is affected by that? So there's a lot of disruption of workflows, which is unfortunate. That just is what it is. Launching a detailed investigation into the scope of the event, working closely with Salesforce to assess and understand impacts, implementing additional safeguards and strengthening protocols. Okay, so they make it sound like maybe you're not using, we decided not to use X because of reasons, and now we're going to implement X because of reason. So there's additional things that they're going to do. They may be going in and looking and seeing, who they need to remove or disenroll in SalesLoft as well. Launched a third-party risk management investigation. Okay, that makes sense. Zscaler customer support has further strengthened customer auth protocol when responding to customer call. Well, that's an interesting one. Okay, so Zscaler's customer support team has further strengthened authentication protocols when responding to customer. They're to safeguard against potential phishing attacks because they expect it, right? Because of the business email addresses. So they got a number of people's email addresses in the list. So hey, I'm a Zscaler customer. Hey, I'm a I need access to blah. So that makes sense. The customer support team is making sure that their call center folks are, hey, we may get some calls based on this vector, or you might get a, hey, I'm the marketing person at Zscaler and I've had issues. So it's good, not just phishing attacks, but vishing, like voice phishing or voice social engineering attacks of any kind. That's very helpful. Hey, Digital Warhead, welcome back, sir. Hello, how are you? Thank you for being a subscriber. What's a subscriber? Subscriber for 30 months in a row. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that. I don't deserve it. There's just so far too many better content creators out there for that. Wow, now I need to see, maybe we can find yet another breach issue. Let's see. Looks like FEMA uses Zscaler and they had 24 cybersecurity personnel fired. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if FEMA's people getting fired and Zscaler breach had anything to do with it. I think there's just a bunch of stupidness going on with the government right now. Hey, Digital, how you doing? Yeah, it has been a minute. Of course, I haven't streamed a lot since Defcon, since I got back from Defcon either, so there's that. I was looking to see if there were any other breaches. There's a ransomware attack, whatever. Jaguar got disrupted by a cyber attack. This is probably the SalesLoft thing. That's rough because, yeah, SalesLoft. Okay, so yeah, Palo Alto's talking about the same thing. Attackers are abusing compromised OAuth tokens to breach a Salesforce instance. They may also set those tokens to expire a lot sooner than, well, sometimes OAuth tokens last forever, right? Maybe you already heard InfoSec Campout is trying to be revived. Yay, LawnCon. Oh, fantastic. Hey, Dr. Fart, I'd never heard of that either. I have not heard Digital Warhead. Wow, InfoSec Campout is trying to be revived. That is fantastic. LawnCon. Let me see. So for those of you who don't know, I had the idea of InfoSec Campout a while. Was Lawson? No. Okay. Y'all need post the website, Digital, if you've got it. I started an analog to TourCamp. Now, wasn't trying to replace TourCamp, but it was such that it was very backyard camping instead of TourCamp, which is a bit more of a investment, right? You have to get on a ferry, you have to go to Orcas Island, which in the Pacific Northwest is a bit of a deal. Once you get there, it's not. If you decide you don't like it, you kind of have to either wait for the next ferry, which could be a day or two, and there's very limited hotel space. So my thought was for folks maybe that didn't want to do the whole TourCamp thing, and TourCamp is admittedly, or was at the time, alternate years. I don't know if they've gone to yearly now, but was to have a camping conference in a place that was beginner friendly for camping. As I mentioned, our tagline was, if it sucks, you can still drive home, right? So we did it out in Carnation, Washington. Oh, hey, Walt. Good to see you. Yeah, Walt and Digital Warhead both attended at least one or more of our InfoSec campouts. Unfortunately, I started it in 2019, I think. 2019, I think, just before the pandemic. So we didn't do anything in 2020. I think we did one in 2021 and 2022, but then we didn't do 2023 because I had to move. Yeah. Okay, sounds like we're doing leftovers tonight. So yeah, I'm digital. What's the time frame on the Unix nerd is putting it on, but he says he knows you but never attended the InfoSec camp out. Unix nerd. Okay. Oh, is he's doing LawnCon? Unix nerd is doing LawnCon? I don't think that's him. Okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, LawnCon sounds great. I was actually thinking about doing something down here next year, but in a more focused kind of deal. I was looking at doing a camping conference as well, up in the Julian area of California. So Julian is where the pies live, the pie shops and stuff. They're very small, so for those of you who lived in Pacific Northwest with me, Julian is very similar to Leavenworth, which for the other 6 billion people are like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Very small town, very craft oriented, very small, but they do a lot of good things really well. And it's very, very small, tiny place. So I was actually looking at, there's a couple of, like the William Heist Park up here has, very, it's sparse. That's the only difference between the version I did in Seattle and here. It's out there, right? There's, you have some camping spots. It's there. They've RV hookups, granted, but So looking at that, his property out in the boonies. Digital, I remember a couple of times we had some folks from Centralia, Washington, which those of you who are not aware of where everything is. Centralia, Washington is a joint out in the middle of, so it's, we normally would meet for CSEC East and whatever up here in Redmond. They drove up more than once from Centralia, which is a good bit of drive here near Chehalis, close to the Oregon, close-ish to the Oregon, closer to the Oregon border than Seattle is. And they had mentioned that if we ever wanted to change the venue for InfoSec Campout, they had a big area in this area that we could, do like 40 acres worth. And I was like, oh, sounds interesting. And then I never followed up with them. But yeah, for our InfoSec Campout was up here in Carnation, which is right here at the Tolt McDonald Campground, which is right there. That's where we did it for several years. We actually had this entire loop that we would use and do that in. So, nice little place, and of course it is, there's a supermarket right here in this parking lot. There's a Starbucks. It was like a quarter-mile walk, and it was all flat, so it was super easy to camp at. And that's pretty cool, Digital Word. Yeah, I was looking at doing some kind of camping thing next year because I'm going to be in Europe for Defcon. I also thought about doing something just for like Defcon goons, which I haven't broached that with the leadership of the SOC goons or the goon folks. But oh, cool. Oh yeah, I got that. Okay. Okay. I would have, yeah. If he does want it advertised, we can definitely pimp it out. That's kind of cool. Good for him. I'm glad to see more people taking the initiative to do things that are not, you know, everybody needs to go to Defcon or whatever. I think that there's so many opportunities to do things, not necessarily in, where's a gold bar? I forget where gold bar. Oh, that's, oh, yeah, okay. So that's a bit of a hike. And hopefully he's not doing it in like October or November, because it's my experience that Highway 2 is usually gets shut off for the winter. But yeah, that's kind of cool. That's a bit of a drive from Seattle, but it's not bad. Not bad. Yeah, I miss my Pacific Northwest sometimes. It would probably be cooler there today than it is here, but it's not all. Okay. Cool. Well, yeah. I want to open that, but I'm afraid it would open up in a browser. Well, you know, beg for forgiveness, ask for permission. September 5th and 7th. Okay, there you go. So yeah, there. If you see this on VOD, tell Unix Nerd Brian sent you, and tell him not to blame Digital Warhead for my stupidity. So, and you know, if Digital Warhead's like, oh right, P25 network. I know exactly who you're talking about now. Okay, I know exactly who you're talking about now. Yeah, that was a good discussion on P25 network, radio network. Yeah, good stuff. September 5th. Wait, well that's really short notice. 5th through the 7th. That's this weekend. Oh, okay. I totally didn't make that connection. 5th through the 7th. Okay. Very cool. Okay. If y'all are doing InfoSec Camp Out, let me know. If it's before August of next year, I might come up. We'll have to see what the camping situation is. I have to, you know, pack a proper tent and take a $200 Uber ride from SeaTac to Carnation, or maybe I'll figure out how to get it so that our team on site is in Seattle during that time. That would be fun. Cool. All right. How's everybody's weekend? Everybody do okay? You'll pick me up for half. Oh well. What a deal. Well, see, that would be the thing. It'd be like I'd rent a car just to drive out to Carnation, and I wouldn't be there. You know, I'd just set the car there. So that would be, you know, that would be something I would probably ask you for, Digital Warhead, if you could. I mean, you have to come down the 405. At least from where I used to live in Snoqualmie, it was like a 45-minute drive for 30 miles, which is a bitch. But look at it this way: we'll get the carpool lane coming back. You've got that going for you. Cool. Yeah, keep me advised on the digital on the InfoSec Campout revitalization. That would be pretty sweet. Red intel. Anything else here? All this shit's just ads now. Oh, that's too. Oh, you know what? You know what? You pick me up for free. We'll run you through the McDonald's. You can supersize whatever you like. We'll call it Square. Just call it Square. Amazon disrupts APT 29 cyber espionage with Microsoft and Cloudflare. So Amazon has dismantled an APT29 hacking campaign using watering hole tactics, compromise websites, and steal 365 credentials via fake auth pages. That's pretty sweet. collaborating with Microsoft and Cloudflare for disrupted state-sponsored espionage, targeting defense and diplomacy sectors. Highlights the need for enhanced security and international cooperation against evolving cyber threats. Cozy Bear, Midnight Blizzard, APT29, compromised websites target Microsoft 365 users. Okay, so they set up a Microsoft.com or Microsoft something account. Yeah. Cozy Bear, Midnight Blizzard. This method allowed hackers to harvest credentials without direct phishing emails, leveraging trust in familiar websites. Disrupted late last month, involved tech collaboration with Microsoft and Cloudflare, highlighting a growing alliance among tech giants to counter state-sponsored threats. So instead of Microsoft.com, it may have said micrsoft.com, something like that. Domain squatting is fun. They may also, have you, they say the technique exploited OAuth, again with the OAuth flows. There we go. We've got a lot of OAuth flows being used by bad guys. Salesforce, SalesLoft, now these OAuth flows in Microsoft's ecosystem. Users authenticate via code on a secondary device. Yes, that's what I have here. As reported in an analysis by Bleeping Computer, this allowed APT29 to bypass multi-factor auth in some cases, right? Because OAuth flows don't always require authentication on a second device. APT29's activities align with Russia's foreign intelligence objectives, particularly amid ongoing geopolitical tensions. The group believed to be affiliated with the SVR intelligence agency has a track record of high-profile breaches. 2020 SolarWinds supply chain attack, yes. Campaign targeted sectors like defense, technology, diplomacy. APT's 20 adaptation of commercial spyware techniques similar to those of NSO enhanced certificates. Adaptation of commercial spyware techniques. Oh, that's very good. Amazon worked closely with Microsoft to identify affected users, patch the vulnerabilities, and Cloudflare assisted in blocking malicious traffic. That should be how it works, right? Cloudflare notices the bad traffic and block it. Amazon and Microsoft let them know together that this is what it should look like when they're running those flows, sharing that information in a proper way. I would imagine this happens a lot more than is reported, but maybe it was a slow news day for this person. Because I think companies realize they're now more connected than ever. Especially the Amazons and Microsofts and the Googles of the world. You've got companies that are using everything seamlessly through OAuth flows or through integrations in back-end systems. So you may, be a heavy Microsoft Azure Office. What? There you go. Oh, gonna get your head stuck. There you go. Yes, well, you can get up here. Come on. They got integrations. Everybody's integrating with different products. You may use some Microsoft products or some Amazon products using OAuth flows, and you're gonna run into those kinds of issues. Looking ahead, yes, anticipate more hybrid attacks, urging enterprises to adopt zero. I'm sure WPN has a solution for zero trust if you want to look. I'm almost certain that they probably have some kind of shite to implement zero trust, which is yet another, zero trust uses a lot of OAuth flows for that. So ironically enough, I'm not sure adopting zero trust is going to be a solution here. I think doing things like your OAuth flow tokens don't expire. Some of them don't. Maybe after 2 weeks or something, or shorter than that, they should expire, and you have to re-authenticate. Nothing wrong with that. Recent searches indicate a spike in similar threats APT29 is experimenting with custom tools like Goose Egg. Goose Egg. Do not know this. Thank you. All right, hold on. Goose Egg, tool, infosec. There we go. Windows print spooler bug now. Oh, there we go. Goose Egg is the name used by Microsoft's an exploit tool, okay, by Forrest Blizzard, known as Fancy Bear and other names, to exploit 2022-3802. Okay, software vulnerability in Microsoft Windows. Weird. It is a print spooler vulnerability. Okay, so we have 7.8. It is in the SSA KEV. Yeah, I was like, Dr. Fart, like 100%. Printers? Who's using printers? You know, that kind of thing. Yeah. MSRC. Okay, so Microsoft resource. Yeah, so we have, it was released October the 11th, 2022, so it's a 4-year-old vulnerability. It is on the SSA KEV. I don't know when it got added. Let me see. And you should be patching your shit. So it's in, Windows 11, Windows 10. Yeah, see all the versions of Windows 10 and 11, all the server versions, they've all got patches. So that is a problem of vulnerability mitigation and management. I'm not saying just patch all the things, but if you don't need a printer or print spool on there, it doesn't need to be on there, especially on servers. What do you need to print things from a server for? Most of those should be running headless, in my opinion. Had for some time being exploited in an ongoing cyber attack program. While Microsoft patched the vulnerability in 2022, they did not disclose at the time it had been. Well, see, that's not good. That's not helpful. It took them 2 years to patch it, and then they didn't let people know that it was being actively exploited. Gods. Okay. Well, it is what it is, I guess. Oh yeah. I actually started with the Salesforce thing. Let's see. Secure list warned of a rat targeting financial entities. What is it used to evade detection? I don't think it. I can't imagine it using steganography. It's a financial institution. If you want something, my guess is that they've got some real good EDRs, so it might use EDR hooking. No, steganography. Look at that shit. Huh. I don't expect people to use steganography these days. King Rat up there. Okay.
You know they're out there, don't you?
How are they using steganography for this? God Rat, very similar to Awesome Puppet, another ghost rat-based backdoor, reported in 2023, both its code and distribution method. Excuse me. As of this blog publication, the attack remains active. Most recent oh, and then this blog post is from when? Okay, 19 August. So it's been a minute. Some IoTs here for you via Skype, no less. Good go. Okay. Where's the steganography at? Okay, so it's using a JPEG file. See, it serves as a self-extracting executable containing several embedded. Oh no, that's the SCR files. It contains these files. So JPEG, a DLL, valve.exe. Okay, so if you're wanting to play your valves at work or whatever. VC runtime 140.dll. Okay. Oh, loaded by legitimate executable valve.exe. Both the loader and the valve.exe are signed with an expired digital certificate. Loader extracts shellcode bytes. Okay, so they have an image file named 2020. Wow. Okay. One such loader creates a registry endpoint, my startup app that points to a legitimate executable valve.exe. Good times. Oh, yeah, here you can go read about GodRat and all that accordingly. Link. Yeah, so we can get that one right. CNA released a paper on Russian private sector companies working for the state. Which of these allegedly participates in offensive Russian ops? Yandex is Chinese. ByteDance is Chinese. So it's got to be positive or negative technologies. I'm going to say positive technologies. Nobody's ever going to name their company Negative Technologies. That's just simple marketing right there. Yandex, of course, is Chinese. ByteDance is a Chinese-owned company. And like I said, you're never going to name your company something that would put some kind of psychological negative in their head. Grab copy. Paste the link to that article. There you go. Link. All right. I won't look through all of those. Which vendors tool popular with MSPs had a critical vuln this week with CISA adding it to their kev list? Ooh. See, this is what I don't quite understand about the kev list. Some of the things that they add to that list have had vulnerabilities that are months and months old. And I don't know of any enable. It's the only one that looks like some douchebag named it. So enable. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, I just found out about CR7 the other day, and I was like, who the fuck is CR7? CR7 is Cristiano Ronaldo, of course. Apparently that's a thing now people are doing. They're adding, like, you know, when you say internationalization, they put I-18 in or something like that, or whatever. Apparently now the new thing is to shorten people's names by just putting the numbers after that. Picus covered the Ring Reaper malware. What does it use in an attempt to bypass hook-based EDR detection? Oh shit, I don't know. If you understand hook-based EDR detections, you're probably screaming at the screen right now saying, oh, this is what you use. My guess is because it's hook-based, you're going to want to have to do something with, I don't think user mode is going to do it. Hook-based EDR detections, you're going to need to be in the kernel. My guess is you're going to be in the kernel. Oh, IO Uring. IO Uring what? Oh, this is Linux malware. Interesting. All right, we'll copy a link. Let's go take a looky-poo at this. Ring Reaper Linux malware. Ring Reaper. Jeez. All right, it exploits the Linux kernel's modern asynchronous I/O interface, IO Uring, to minimize reliance on conventional system calls that security tools frequently monitor or hook. There you go. So, TTPs of the Ring Reaper malware. T1057 process discovery. Enumerating active PTS sessions via IO Uring. Third payload logged users enumerates active pseudo terminal sessions by querying dead PTS and relevant proc entries asynchronously via IO Uring. Ring Reaper identifies logged in users, remote sessions such as SSH or local terminal connections. This allows the attacker to map user activity and identify potential targets for lateral movement or privask. That makes sense. That makes sense. Still has to get on the system, which doesn't exactly mention how that happens. Somebody must click on a link or whatever. So somehow command me cmd me gets added to the working directory. Somehow gets delivered, and then executes files. Which is this PowerShell? Wow. I knew PowerShell's on Linux, but I just didn't realize they're just deciding to use that anyway. Querying PTS, okay. System network connections discovery, netstat connections is designed to enumerate active network connections, right? So you're checking to see what's available, anything over SSH that can be used, or NFS shares, or kind of shell connections like that. Anyway, there's a lot of things here. Don't know who Picus is, so I'm sure they might be trying to sell you something at the bottom of the article here. Let's see. Yep, there you go. So they're gonna help you if you want a free 14-day trial of their Picus platform. So you can read the good article. Avoid the sales pitch at the bottom. All right, next. CrowdStrike warned of campaign dropping Shamos malware. Which platform does it target? Well, I don't think CrowdStrike runs on ESXi. It would run on any of these with varying degrees of Shamos. Sham OS? I'm assuming an OS of some kind. Sham OS. I'm going to say Windows 11. Nope, Mac OS. Hey, look at that. We got a Linux malware. We got a Mac OS malware. That's awesome. Fantastic. Super duper. That's nice. There we go. Yes. Oh, good. Another sophisticated malware campaign. Do they just have to do that to make people feel good about themselves when they get completely owned by something? I don't know if that's, it's almost like sophisticated should be on your bingo card anytime you're reading a write-up about a malware campaign or something. At some point, they're going to use sophisticated. Victim searches for a Mac OS related issue. Mac OS Flush Resolver Cache. They receive a promoted malvertising website in their search results. That's a browser issue, right? Okay, Mac Safer. Okay, so they found this one. Wow, promoted mal. Well, so yeah, they pay Google. Check clears. Google's like, yeah, let's put it up here in our search results. One Google advertising profile. I got. Promoting a spoofed OS website appears to be a legitimate Australia-based electronics store, suggesting e-crime actors responsible for likely spoofing the store name in their Google advertising profile. Yeah, so there you go. There we go. All right. Yes. Fake pages provide victims with false instructions on how to fix their problem. So download this piece of software, run it. You're gonna. Oh, you can make it easier by using a bash command. I would hope that anybody who's looking to fix their issue, wow, they make people actually run terminal commands. Wow. Okay. That is nutso. Instead of downloading an app or something to fix your shit, run this command. Base64 encoded, so it obfuscates the URL, ideally. So yeah, decodes base64 string into HTTPS iCloudservers.com/gms install.sh. Okay, so that makes sense why they're using the bash and the curl to pull that down. You're gonna download the bash file, base64 encoded URL, and then you're gonna decode the base64 value. That's why you're piping it into base64-d. Then it's going to pull that down and run it, right? Yep. Captures the user's password and downloads a ShamOS Mako executable. Right. And so here's the bash script. Very good. First reporting on this campaign in June 2025, so it's fairly new. Continue to observe opportunistic e-crime threat actors leveraging malicious GitHub repos to prompt victims to execute commands. malicious command, yeah, removes extended file attributes, ATTR, right? So bypassing gatekeeper checks, Chxld, yeah. So it changes the ability to make any kind of, anti VM commands. It verifies it's not running in a sandbox. So it's trying to hide itself. So if you're trying to analyze it, it's going to be resistant to your attempts to, analyze it inside of a typical VM. Interesting. That's kind of cool. That's kind of cool. It has anti-VM stuff. What Mac issue is it purporting to fix? It suggests that you got a problem with your printer again, and it's supposed to be if you're looking for, let's see what it is. Yeah, if a victim searches for a Mac OS related issue. So it's pretty much luck of the draw, right? So if you're looking for some kind of issue, I wonder if I can pull up macsafer.com when I'm searching. I have a Mac, so I don't know if it will actually give me those answers. See, Mac. They probably disrupted the operation, so we won't get the malvertising from that. Flush, cache, resolver. Let me see. My Google searches don't look like those. Weird. Okay. I'm not even getting ads. What am I doing wrong? I'm not doing something right. I should be getting ads and like personalized. Oh, I don't have personalized results. Yeah, I have ad block on too, but got a ton of shit enabled or blocked on that. So that may be why I'm not getting the suggested bits. Well, that kind of makes me sad. I don't have the I can't get shit. So, oh, by the way, if you actually want to flush your resolver cache, this is one way of doing it right there. I guess if you have Google personalized results, then that's going to be something you're going to get there. So. Goose egg. Okay. Keep going. Someone on the internet claimed, unproven still, that they discovered a bypass for which vendor's EDR. Ooh, I've not heard about this. Elastic isn't an EDR. Sentinel-1 would like to be an EDR. Burn. Just kidding. I want to say that probably is I'm going to assume this is yeah, majority of people probably do use ad block. I use ad block over something like Pi-hole or something like that. I have more than just myself using my my home network, so I don't want anything that's going to cause my network to just fall over. CrowdStrike would sound trolly. I mean, all of them probably have bypass. Elastic is not an EDR. Sentinel-1 is an EDR. I'm gonna assume Sophos. Oh, that too. Yeah, Dr. Fart, yeah. People have personalized Google results turned on. I've had that turned off forever. So. Elastic has an EDR. No fucking shit. Who knew? In other news, Elastic has an EDR. All right, so as of August 29th, which was last Friday, Elastic has been directly involved with the researcher. After evaluating additional information, our assessment still stands to confirm we are responsibly assessing this report. Okay, so the researcher suggested that they had a proof of concept. Elastic has been directly engaged with the researcher. They say that is not anything, and that as of update of August 29th, they don't have. They say it's still not happening, but they're engaging a neutral third party, so that's kind of cool. Just to make sure that there's no bias there. And I think they're probably trying to do right by the researcher in this case to make sure that. And it could be the researcher said, well, we'd like somebody else to look at it or whatever. So maybe sometimes the people you interact with at large organizations, especially security people, won't have the same level of knowledge that you have, and you would want that independent third party to take a look at it and make sure it's not legit. So yeah, this came in through a bug bounty program, so yeah, it would make sense that they want to make sure that they're doing right by the researcher. So that's good. That's definitely a way to go with that. I wish Elastic Luck on proving a negative. Based on N6 report on Lumo Stealer affiliates, which is the most prevalent traffic used for malicious activities. Oh, browser. Okay. Dolphin? I don't think so. I'm gonna say for malicious activities. Tor would make the most sense, but Tor I think is just a repackaged Firefox browser. Chrome would be fun because it's got a lot of WebKit bullshit involved. Firefox is the most like the one a lot of people would use. I think it depends on what the malicious activities are. Which is the most prevalent browser used for malicious activities? I think in terms of market share, it's going to have to be Chrome, but yeah, Tor is going to be used by not a lot of people for nefarious purposes. I think Firefox is probably that nice in the middle. I think you're right. Nope, Dolphin. Okay. All the nerds use Firefox. Thank you. I am a nerd. Copy link. There we go. Okay, so why are they using Dolphin of all things? Info Stealer's been around since 2022. Short term, defenders adhere to best practice. Yeah, Gara, whatever. Insignificant participated. Okay, great. Key findings. Nobody uses fucking Dolphin. Yeah, I don't know anything about it. It's like, oh yeah, they use Brave. Okay, great. So what? Dolphin browser. Now that makes me want to go look at that and see what Dolphin browser. Oh, it's a mobile browser. Well, that would make sense. Android or iOS operating system browser. Okay. That I still wouldn't use Dolphin browser on my phone. I use Firefox, Chrome when I have to. I sure as hell wouldn't use Brave. But yeah. Huh. Okay. So Dolphin is a mobile browser. The article or the question didn't ask that question. Yes, I know. Thank you, Digital Warhead. I'm very aware. Thank you very much for that. Firefox also lives on land. Yes, I know. Yeah, I know this thing about golf. Yes. SecureList covered recent campaigns using the Pipe Magic malware. What is exploited by this? So, Cliffs, ADCS, so Active Directory, maybe? Two somethings. Yeah, two somethings, right? Yeah. We actually saw a pod of, we did a whale watching cruise a week ago, Saturday, and didn't see any whales. There was a huge pod of dolphins that was off the coast of Point Loma, which you can go look that up on a map. Probably about 100 dolphins. It was a huge pod of dolphins with babies. So you saw this, this dolphin, and you see about half-sized dolphin, diving in the water with them. Wow. I'm gonna say AD. AD reminds me of. It was very cool. We were on our way back after being out there for 3 hours, and you can see I still have remnants of my sunburn because I'm an idiot. I didn't put sunscreen on. for a 4-hour tour, and so I got completely burnt. Matter of fact, you can probably see my tan line. Very impressive tan line, very ugly tan line. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I'm gonna say ADCS. No, whatever the hell CLFS is. Yeah, I peel like a lizard there. So what is CLFS? CLFS. Of course, Microsoft patched it. Okay, CLFS. ChatGPT, no. This time, rather than exploiting vulnerabilities for initial penetration, the attackers used a fake ChatGPT client application and fate. Jesus Christ. Fake app written in Rust using two frameworks, Tauri for rendering graphical applications and Tokyo for asynchronous task execution. However, it had no user functionality. When launched, it simply displayed as blank screen. Jeez. Okay. All right. So CL. No, not SIFs. CL. Can a brother type? It doesn't have CLFS. Why are they mentioning CLFS at all then? Not in the list. Maybe I need a match case. CLF. Nope. Well, that's interesting. They mention CLFS, but they don't mention it in the. CLFS malware. Okay, common log file system. Okay, so article that mentions this doesn't even have it in. This is first. Law. Yeah, maybe it's the wrong article or something. Now that is a fun fact. Yes. Okay, let me go see. Well, we only got a couple more of these. Next. Krebs reported on fraudsters using compromised brokerage accounts to manipulate stock prices. What is this scheme called? It's called pump and dump. Ramp and dump. I learned a new word today. And of course I suck at this, so I'll be like ramp and dump. I would imagine it would be something like hype. You know, you're hyping up stocks. Let me see. Yeah. So, undeterred by security controls at these trading platforms that block users from wiring funds directly out of accounts, the fishers have pivoted to using multiple compromised brokerage accounts in unison to manipulate the prices of foreign stock. Ramp and dump scheme borrows its name from the age-old pump and dump, wherein fraudsters purchase a large number of shares from some penny stock and promote the company in a frenzied social media, so like GameStop, right? To build up interest from other investors, the fraudsters dump their shares after the price increases to some degree, which then causes a sharp drop in the value of the shares for legitimate investors. Okay, so with ramp and dump, the scammers do not need to rely on ginning up interest on the targeted stock on social media. Rather, they will pre-position themselves in the stock that they wish to inflate using compromised accounts to purchase large volumes and then dumping the shares after the stock has reached a certain value. Interesting. Okay. That means somebody has had to compromise the accounts and transfer large sums of money from bank accounts, because usually it is harder to detect. Yeah. I would hope that people would be able to know if they've had a login on their stock trading account or what have you. Now it makes my now I'm starting to sweat, like, you know, get ass sweat, because my E-Trade account, you know, my E-Trade account needs better two-factor auth in my opinion, but yeah. Especially since people can have millions of dollars in those accounts, and you're, you know, incumbent on something like a, you know, SMS two-factor or something like that. I bet a lot of people aren't using 2FA and don't check it much. Oof, I would, yeah, I mean, I think there's my E-Trade account is, I do check it every once in a while. Please tell us where else you've had investment accounts at. Yeah. Well, my Smith Barney account, and my, all the other places that you can probably grab my monies from. Yeah. I'm sure I have mentioned all of them at some point, Digital Warhead. You just have to go back through and listen to all 500 episodes of the podcast and the audio and everything to cover those tracks. I mean, there's already people that can take my voice and make deep fakes of me. So, um, it is what it is. And, it's funny. We were just talking about that yesterday, and my first thought was, yeah, me and my wife and my family, we're gonna need passwords. We're gonna need passphrases so that somebody calls my wife on the phone and say, hey, it's Brian, I'm in jail in Tijuana or something, you're gonna have to come and get me, or they need $500 in iTunes gift cards or whatever. Of course, my wife would never pay that because one, want to believe that she knows that it's a scam, but two, she wouldn't pay it because she loves me. I'm just kidding. But if somebody called impersonating my daughter or impersonating my wife, it'd be like, well, tell me what the password is. It'd have to be something that we've never actually said to ourselves or publicly. Like my safe word is Palomino, that kind of thing. You would have to maybe not a passphrase. Maybe you'd want to tell a story about something that all three of us would know something about. Not necessarily a pet or something like that, but it would be like maybe a story that didn't happen, like the time we went to space camp, that kind of. Because when you're retired or you've got a little bit of money in the bank and people know it, thanks Digital Warhead, you've already got a running list. I appreciate that. Like how two spies would verify one. You're absolutely right, Doctor. Yeah, that would be exactly how you'd want to do that. Oh, I sucked this time. Oh, I got 2 out of 10. Womp womp. But yeah, that I think just out of habit, you would want to have something anyway. Depending on what your threat model is. If you're worried about kidnapping or but if you got a fair bit of cash or RSUs or you've got some value there. I mean, when you call a bank, they want to know what your passphrase is, potentially to be able to do, that kind of stuff. So, if it's Palomino, then, they know that, and they know that you are that person. And ideally you don't have it, scrawled somewhere, or, you've mentioned it in a stream where what your safe word is. But that would be something you'd want to cover. So. Oh goodness. So just as a heads up, I am trying to, I should, well, let me check first. My roommate at Defcon gave an excellent talk. Okay, so he gave me 2 heart signs about an invite for Thursday, 2 days from now, about a talk that my roommate gave at Defcon about introduction to threat hunting. And so, I'm going to send out the invite tonight. And on Thursday, 2 days from now, we will be talking to my roommate Kanu about threat hunting and some of the talk that he gave at DEF CON Intro to Threat Hunting, which was so popular we had to turn people away at the door because there were so many people who wanted to go see that. I think one of the only ones I saw that actually had a longer line was the AI and blue teaming, which I was like, wow, you put AI and any other word together and you got to talk with 500 people who want to get involved. I didn't get the people who were doing that talk because probably could have had them on here as well. Because some of the blue team talks at DEF CON didn't get recorded. So one reason we're going to have Kanu on was the talk wasn't recorded, right? Standing room only. First time goon as well. That was his noon year. Good dude. and so he's been cleared to be able to have that talk. So we're gonna talk about it. So if you're interested in threat hunting, he apparently gave a talk that was standing room only. So you know, we're gonna make that happen. AI plus slop might even bigger hit. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the line for the AI and blue team, it was like, I think it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and there were people lined up at like 45 minutes before the actual talk to get in. And this time Thursday, yes, it will be the 3 o'clock Pacific time Thursday. Dr. Burt, thank you. I will be mentioning it on our Discord, and the VOD will be available on YouTube, of course. But yeah, looks to be a good discussion. We'll be zoomed in, and we'll be having chats, and we'll be talking. So, yeah. All right. Well, I think I'm gonna go and get myself some dinner. It is a little after 5 Pacific time here. So, but yeah, keep an eye out for Thursday. Making all these promises. I want to. Either way, I will be on Thursday because Friday I have to go get my flu shot, so I won't be on Friday. But I will be on Thursday either way. I want him to be on, and he hasn't told me he's not going to be on, and he's been cleared to talk. So I just need to send out the invite, send out our Google Doc to discuss. He will have some demos, so that'll be cool. So you can watch the video, watch the YouTube VOD for those things. Should be vendor neutral. I'm, you know, I will verify that, you know, he's not going to be pimping out a company or anything like that. He might talk about his company, but it's going to be more generic terms. So, but anyway, yeah, hope you have a good rest of your day and rest of your week. And Dr. Furt, thank you. What kind of leftovers are we having? I think I'm going to have a turkey burger. My wife made some Greek-inspired turkey burgers with some feta cheese and some onion, and we grilled those bad boys up on the grill. And so yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Yeah, thanks, Dr. Park. Yeah, Digital Word, thank you. Of course, Walt, thank you for joining as well. And yeah, we'll talk to y'all later. Okay, y'all have a good day and take care. All right, bye, y'all. Later.